Allaitement pour tous brings you Latch, illustrated by Charlotte Young from the Allaitement pour tous International Headquarters. All rights reserved. The definition of a good latch is the way in which a baby takes the breast in the mouth that results in an efficient, comfortable sucking technique that removes enough milk from the breast to signal continued milk production. Here are the main points to look for. The jaw is open wide, the head tilted slightly back, the tongue extended beyond the lower lip. There's a space between the baby's nose and the breast. The cheeks are sealed to the breast. If the baby's jaw is open wide, the tongue, unless there is structural tension or a tight frenum, will be able to extend under the breast. That is very important because it enables the baby to get the nipple to the back of his mouth where the palate is soft. If the baby's tongue cannot ensure the nipple is drawn to the back of his mouth, the nipple will be rubbed on the front hard part of the baby's palate. That will hurt the mother, and milk removal will be inefficient. That is the cause of cracks in nipples and milk or lip blisters on babies. And long-term, it's responsible for low milk supply. Blisters or cracks or pain in the nipples while breastfeeding is not normal. It's common, but not normal. If there's no structural tension or tongue or lip tie, a good latch involves no pain and is easy to attain. If breastfeeding is painful, there's definitely a problem, and smiling while suffering is not a solution. The latch is the first thing to check. To ensure an abundant, easy milk supply, the breasts must be completely drained at each feed. To enable the baby to open his jaw properly, his head has to be tilted slightly back. By supporting the base of the baby's head and ensuring the angle that enables the baby to open the jaw as wide as possible, the mother will be able to approach the baby sufficiently close to the breast to seal the baby's cheeks to the breast. A supporting hand at the base of the head, not at the back of the head, is reassuring to the baby who needs to feel that he can pull back if he needs to. The right angle will ensure there is vital breathing space between the baby's nostrils and the breast. That space between the nostrils and the breast, with the cheeks sealed to the breast, is what to look for. The baby needs to be able to open his jaw wide to be able to extend his tongue. The head tilted slightly back, like we do when we eat a sandwich, is what will enable him to extend his tongue. The tongue, the chief architect of the mouth, as Dr. Dan Hansen from Melbourne coined it, is responsible for bringing the nipple to the back of the mouth and maintaining an airtight seal around the breast while breastfeeding. To help the baby get a big mouthful of breast, it's much easier to support the breast at the base. 3 fingers braced against the ribs with the middle finger in the fallow. The fallow is the fold between the breast and the ribs. The index should be under the areola and the thumb over it. That way, by supporting the breast at the base, the breast can be held up above the baby's mouth. It's very important to support the breast at the base so the fingers don't push into the breast, because that can cut off the flow in the milk ducts beneath. With the 3 fingers on the ribs supporting the breast at the base, the index and thumb are now free to compress some of the areola into a sandwich shape. Now the breast can be held slightly above the baby's mouth and touch the baby's upper lip. That means the baby will have to tilt his head slightly back to get the breast, which will enable him to open the jaw wide. When a baby is searching for the nipple, moving around a lot, touching or even tickling the upper lip or nose of the baby with the nipple will help the baby find the breast. Even if the nipple and mouth are not lined up, as soon as the jaw is open wide, that is the moment. Quickly bring the baby to the breast without pushing his head down. To ensure the upper lip is rolled back, the thumb can roll it back manually, which will help prevent a milk blister. The index can roll back the lower lip. Supporting the baby at the base of the head and supporting the breast at the base with the other hand is called a cross cradle hold. Whether it's done horizontally or vertically or lying down depends on whatever the mother and baby dyad find easiest. Do not ever hold the baby by the back of his head, and most certainly do not push his head forward. The baby's head must be supported at the base. Pushing a baby's head forward tends to create a rejection reflex. Even a well-intentioned hand at the back of a baby's head can, and often does, result in many babies' refusal to take the breast. A rejection reflex is the origin of the modern myth that certain babies do not want to breastfeed. There is no such thing as a lazy baby or a baby who doesn't want to breastfeed, and no, babies do not manipulate people. They enchant or charm empathic, capable, mature people. Negative interpretation of how babies react and behave is common but inaccurate. A baby who drinks from a baby bottle or who is given a pacifier will prefer the fast, easy flow of a bottle and the constant availability of a pacifier. Until the age of about 3 months, the risk of artificial nipples is called nipple confusion. The baby will get used to pushing down on the inflexible nipple without needing to exert any of the gymnastics that breastfeeding requires to ensure milk removal. After the age of 3 months, the sabotaged breastfeeding technique then becomes a question of nipple preference or instant gratification. Babies are unable to assess the risks of losing the breastfeeding technique. However subtle, culturally acceptable, and highly profitable, bottles and pacifiers are efficient tools to wean a baby from the breast. When supplementing, to avoid the breastfeeding sucking technique sabotage that artificial nipples tend to have, it's always possible to supplement directly at the breast with a very low-cost, homemade, or even store-bought at-breast supplement system. The next learning curve after breastfeeding is logically and developmentally normal, learning to drink from a cup, not learning to drink from bottles. Drinking from a cup is also culturally acceptable, not to mention far more hygienic than drinking from artificial nipples. Studies show that the bottle feeding position with a straight back and the baby balanced on the forearm results in back and shoulder pain. In one of the studies, 26 of the 27 mothers abandoned that position due to trouble latching and back and shoulder pain. This bottle feeding position usually ends up with the baby's head down, the nose pushed into the breast, making breathing difficult. When the nose is pushed into the breast, the nipple is pulled forward to the front hard part of the baby's palate, making latch painful and milk removal difficult and inefficient. This sitting up position is fine for bottle feeding perhaps, but many mothers are told they need to buy a breastfeeding cushion to accommodate it. The rugby ball or clutch position works well for a lot of mothers. In the rugby ball position, the baby's head is tilted slightly back, allowing the jaw to open properly. It's not always the easiest position to maintain for long periods. Breastfeeding twins simultaneously is most easily learned in a rugby ball position on whatever cushion is handy, although breastfeeding twins simultaneously can easily be done in a wraparound carrier or 2 slings. Getting a good latch is made easier for mothers when simultaneous breastfeeding twins vertically in a wraparound carrier. It's comfortable for the mother and practical when she has to deal with daily tasks at the same time as breastfeeding, even until the age of 2, as this mother did. Most mothers find the semi-inclined position with the mother's knees raised works very well. The baby needs to work from a wide, stable base to be efficient. The mother's body provides that warm and stable base to breastfeed from. That is the first position from which a baby naturally finds the breast at birth. The night feeding position works best for many babies. Lying on his side, the baby is again on a solid base, not balanced on a forearm. The baby's head can tilt slightly back, which in turn allows the jaw to open wide, and the mother can either hold the breast or support the baby by his shoulders, pulling him in snugly. The night feeding position allows the mother to breastfeed at night without having to get up. Remaining lying down at night helps keep prolactin levels high. Prolactin is responsible for milk production. High levels of prolactin also keep a woman infertile. Studies show that breastfeeding mothers get more sleep and fall asleep faster than bottle-feeding mothers. Aside from the hormonal aspect of breastfeeding, concretely, mothers breastfeeding or bottle-feeding who sit up to feed a baby at night, then spend the time it takes to get the baby back to sleep, before being able to lie down themselves and finally go back to sleep again, obviously get less sleep than mothers who stay lying down to feed at night. Whatever the choice of positions, mothers and babies need time together to work out what positions work best for them. Human milk digests in 20 to 40 minutes, so unlike infant formula, which takes 3 hours to digest, no delay or spacing of feeding is necessary. In case of milk production problems or milk transfer to baby problems, babies will need to breastfeed frequently. The frequent precious calories babies get in every drop of their mother's milk is always nutritious. Therefore, the belief that prolonged, inefficient feeding is non-nutritious is a fallacy. Even if the baby is getting small amounts at a time, every drop means nutritious feeding, and every drop is always full of immune factors. The only way to obtain truly non-nutritive sucking is by taking a baby off the breast and replacing the breast with a pacifier. Babies held snugly to their mother's body maintain the lowest cortisol levels possible. Cortisol is a stress hormone. So when a baby is carried or worn on the mother's body, especially at breast height, not only can the mother more easily get a good latch, but also she can ensure frequent feeding without carrying the weight of the baby in her arms and shoulders. Constant contact ensures optimal neurological development. The rocking movement a baby feels when held snugly to an adult's body produces little waves of oxytocin that relax both parties. Oxytocin is the opposite to cortisol. Tummy-to-tummy baby wearing also helps the digestion process. If a baby feels pain when carried in a wraparound carrier, a sling or physiological baby carrier, the most common cause is untreated structural tension. While waiting for treatment, swaddling can replace the envelopment that a wraparound baby carrier or a sling provides, to keep a baby calm as they try to find a good latch. This baby, suffering from Kiskinder, was in pain when carried in a normal carrying position in a wraparound carrier or sling, and latch was impossible until she felt contained and enveloped. Only swaddling could help her relax enough to latch in the first weeks until she got treatment. At about the age of 4 months, on conditions structural tension and or tongue tie are not an issue, babies will generally have become experts at breastfeeding, able to drain the breasts efficiently in less than 15 minutes. That's about the age at which distraction often becomes a problem for maintaining a good latch. Older babies also usually like to enjoy breastfeeding in a wide variety of acrobatic positions that can surprise parents. Acrobatics while breastfeeding is very common in older babies. Mothers, be aware that older babies sometimes don't let go when they want to suddenly turn their head to look at something. Not allowing that kind of bad habit and maintaining an efficient latch is all part of the mothering path. When traveling, whether to the market or on holiday, keeping a breastfed toddler safe, occupied, and happy is very easy when carried and breastfed on the go. Even when a baby is walking and talking, ensuring a good latch is most easily obtained in the vertical position in a physiological baby carrier. Needless to say, an occupied, safe, breastfed toddler is a calm and satisfied toddler, and that makes happy and confident mothers. What's wrong here? Can you identify 3 things wrong with this latch? To find out if you have got the right answers, rendezvous at your local La Leche League meetings or on your local La Leche League discussion forum.